it!
There's a moment at every NASCAR race that never gets old. Doesn't matter how many times you've heard it. Gentlemen, start your engines. Such a simple thing. Yet every time I hear it, it sends chills through my body. That's Talladega, 2.66 miles, 33 degrees of banking, 3 wide at 190 miles an hour. Feels exactly as insane as it looks. Here's what most people don't get to see from the grandstands. What it looks like to actually live in the infield for 4 days. On this episode of Thrust and Thunder, we'll discuss boondocking, which essentially means you have no hookups. Others might call it dry camping. We'll discuss how we power our camper with a full breakdown of power usage for each generator we use. We'll also discuss water usage and storage tank management, our methods of hauling these heavy generators to the racetrack and back, plus general camp setup. We'll also cover the amount of fuel I typically burn through a race week, as well as allow you to take in some of the sights, sounds, and tastes of Dega race weekend. We truly hope you enjoy. Any products discussed during this video will have links in the description for you, so feel free to check those out. As always, leave us a comment down below with any questions you have. Give that like button some loving as well. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thrust and Thunder. This week on Thrust and Thunder, we're taking a trip. We're going to go to the infield of Talladega. There at the infield at Talladega, we have no hookups whatsoever. And what that means is we have to use generators to run the camper. My wife and I like it cool when we sleep at night, and so what that generally means is that I have to have a lot of power from a generator in order to run the entire camper all at one time. This unit has 3 air conditions, which of course, if it's super hot outside, is required. But if there are cool nights, 1 air condition can get the bedroom nice and cool without any problems. And that's where this unit comes in. The Champion 9375 starting watts, 7500 running watts. And this unit will power the entire camper without any problems. It does come with a 50 amp plug, which my unit has native to it. But the thing is this unit will burn fuel quite fast. It's got a 7-gallon tank on it. It'll run about 10 hours without any problems at all. However, after those 10 hours, you have to put fuel in the tank. You also have quite a bit of noise coming from this generator. And of course, we want to be good neighbors to the folks in the infield. We do not want our neighbors to get tired of the noise. So during the daytime, when everybody is awake and we don't need air conditions running all day, we just open some windows and use this generator. This is the Honda EU2200i generator. It also comes with a 30 amp plug. I have a 30 amp plug adapter which will plug into my 50 amp plug without any problems. And this small generator will actually run a microwave, it'll run a crock pot, it'll run the refrigerator, and then of course we also have solar panels on top of the camper. Those solar panels are currently configured and controlled with this switch. As soon as I flip that switch on, those solar panels are engaged and they will help charge the battery. Now our refrigerator runs off of a DC motor. This refrigerator here in our camper will run off of the battery for quite a long time because it is DC powered and no inverter is involved in powering the refrigerator. So going down the road, there's no propane, there's just DC power powering this refrigerator. During the daytime, when we have the Honda generator running the camper, it will power that refrigerator by charging the battery because the refrigerator is truly being powered by the battery itself. But it will also run things like I spoke about earlier, a microwave, a crock pot, fans, anything which are needed during the daytime. It's always a good idea to test your generators before you take them out on a boondocking expedition. This once again is our 30 amp plug connection. Now this generator runs really quiet. It runs at about 47 to 58 decibels depending on the load. This Champion generator runs a lot louder, 74 decibels at 25 feet. That's pretty loud if you're in close quarters like we are going to be in the infield. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how do we transport these generators, especially the big one, because the thing weighs close to 300 pounds. So how do we transport this generator from here at our home to the racetrack in the infield? And there are several ways you can do it. Put it in the back of the truck, but the way that I use is a platform that mounts directly to the hitch on the back of the camper. All right, we have the generator on our Max Haul carrier. We've had this for a couple years now. Does the job very well. It carries this thing down the road, and we have our camera on the back of the camper that at least will show us if something is going wrong with our setup. But for now, this thing works just fine. Takes a little bit of effort to get a 300-pound generator up on the rack, but once it's there, it works great. The way that it connects is at the back of the camper. It slides into the 2-inch receiver slot, and then there is a bolt-down bracket that also fits onto the back, which gives the entire carrier just a little bit more stability going down the highway. Of course, it bounces around a lot back here, and so you really have to keep an eye on it. I do an inspection every time we stop for fuel or any other type of stop, but this is our setup. So the Honda generator, it fits nicely into this little spot, and then our Blackstone goes into this little generator slot because this unit is made to fit a Cummins diesel generator or gasoline generator. We just decided to go with the non-onboard generator options for now. Now, some things to note as we strap down our generator onto the Max Haul hauler. So you'll notice that the generator is not perfectly centered on the carrier. When you look at the support structure of our Max Haul hauler, we've got a nice solid piece of steel over top of the aluminum flooring that supports the generator. So I put the heaviest part of the generator where the engine is, right over top of that solid piece of steel so that it is capable of carrying this thing down the road. So we've strapped it down. I've got a cover for it, and I just simply use bungee cords to keep the cover on as we go down the road. Now it's time to go inside and fill our water tanks. This is what the tank situation is going to look like starting out. Everything on the fresh water tank is empty, as well as our holding tanks. Now for going down the road, I don't like to put more than 1/3 inside my fresh water tank. You can see that I'm using 2 different filters. So as I start filling the fresh water tank, the water's actually getting filtered twice before it goes into the rig. This prevents any sediment buildup coming into the rig from outside water sources. As you can see, we've got the fresh water tank filled to about 1/3 capacity, which is about 20 to 30 gallons. So we'll shut off the water fill and set up the camper for dry camping. Go inside, turn the water pump on, and test some of our faucets just to make sure water is flowing and the water pump is working properly. So this small nozzle on our shower, because we have several nozzles on our master bathroom shower, this one uses the least amount of water. So that's the one we're going to use to take showers. So the idea is you turn the water on, lather up, and then turn the water off, turn the water back on to wash yourself back off. That's the idea. We call it a bird bath shower. We have to make an 80-gallon tank last for 5 days. So it's time to pull out of the household and head down the road towards Talladega, Alabama. So the Speedway property allows us to pull into the racetrack as of Wednesday afternoon. So it's Wednesday afternoon and we're pulling into the Turn 3 tunnel and we'll emerge into the infield of Talladega and catch our first glimpses of this sprawling infield. It's truly gigantic. As we make the left-hand turn, we'll pass right by the famous Talladega Boulevard, which will emerge on our right side as we drive by it. This place will become a gigantic party in just a couple days. We're going to pull up to one of the few water sources that are free here in the infield and fill our freshwater tank to a full capacity until the water starts coming out of the vent lines, just like we did back at home using our double filter setup. Once the water tank is full, it's time to take the camper down to our campsite and set everything up. 5 nights of boondocking. No hookups, no shore power, just what we brought with us. It's going to take some conservation in order to make it to Monday morning without refilling water or dumping the tanks. Let's talk about the loads each generator can handle individually. First up, the Champion 9,000 watt generator. This is our heavy hitter. 3 Coleman Mach 10 air conditioners, 1,300 watts each running. That's 3,900 watts just for cooling the camper. Add in the microwave, the hair dryer, 3 TVs, the fridge, Starlink Mini, and a full load, and we're looking at right around 7,400 watts. Now here's where it gets interesting. Champion peaks at 9,375 watts, but that's startup surge, not running load, and 3 air conditioners starting up at the same time without any kind of help. Each one of those units pulls nearly 2,600 watts just to kick on. 3 of them together, that's almost 8,000 watts in surge alone, more than this generator can handle. That's why I installed Coleman soft starts on all 3 units last year. They reduced startup surge by about 45% per unit. The generator never even flinches. 3 ACs running simultaneously, only possible because of that one upgrade. If you're boondocking with multiple ACs, soft starts aren't optional, they're the whole game. Unlike the Champion, which we run at night, the Honda generator is a completely different animal. Whisper quiet. I can have a conversation standing right next to it, but it's got limits. 1,800 watts running, 1 air condition with a soft start, plus your essentials. Fridge, Starlink, lights, charging. That's about it. You're sitting at about 1,750 watts and you're done. Microwave, hair dryer, maybe individually, but never together. 1,875 watts is basically the Honda's entire capacity by itself. What the Honda is good for is daytime cooling on a single AC. Runs 4 to 8 hours on a tank depending on the load. Now let's talk free power. 660 watts of solar on the roof. 2 330 watt panels wired in parallel running through a Future Solutions MPPT controller. Full Alabama sun here in the infield. We're seeing about 615 watts of actual output after the controller does its thing. That's enough to run the fridge, Starlink, all 3 TVs, keep phones and iPads charged, and still have enough power trickling back to the batteries. We're just not able to run the ACs off solar. Now here's the real world. We had a cloudy day at Dega, and the app told the whole story. 32 volts off the panels, about 132 watts average output. That's enough to keep the fridge running and the Starlink connected, and that's about it. Every other load is pulling off the battery with no extra charge. You can see that the battery is charging, but not very much. 30 volts input, and let's watch this trend vector for just a moment as the sun tries to come out. You can see how the output power increases just a little bit, almost up to 200 watts, but then decreases again when a cloud comes right back overhead. Now let's assume we are down to just batteries. Stock setup from the factory, 2 100 amp hour lead acid batteries. Sounds like a lot until you do the math. Lead acid you only discharge to 50%, so your usable capacity is about 1,200 watt hours. The inverter converts that into 120 volt AC power for your appliances. But running the lighter loads, fridge, Starlink, TVs, lights, charging your devices, you're pulling about 365 watts. That gives you roughly 3.5 hours before the bank is totally tapped out. Let's check our water situation after day 1 and then again after day 2. So we're doing a pretty good job of conserving our water. I always bring 4 5-gallon cans of fuel to the racetrack, as well as one 14-gallon can, which is a grand total of 34 gallons of gasoline. I always run ethanol-free gasoline in my generators and pretty much all my other equipment that uses regular gasoline. That way the small engine carburetors don't get clogged up with ethanol. I actually went home with about 14 gallons of gas after this weekend. After doing the daily chores, it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the race weekend. Race weekend wouldn't be complete without shopping at the outside track vendors. Do not worry, no foxes were harmed in the creation of this video. Let's give another check to our water situation after day 3. But I just want to point out that spray tank number 1 is the one that fills up first. That's where the shower's at. And then after day 4, this is what the water and tank situation was. We also dumped the tank on this day, Sunday afternoon. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the Jack Links 500 on Sunday. It's always great just to spend time with good friends and eat good food. Here in the infield at Talladega, it's a really great time. We always enjoy it every year. I highly recommend that you at least experience it at least one time in your life. At some point, we're upgrading to a Victron MultiPlus-II two-way 120 volt with an 800 amp hour lithium battery bank. True 50 amp split phase full integration with our existing solar. Run the ACs all night without touching the generator, then recharge with a small generator the next day. Stay tuned to the channel for details of this install upcoming. We certainly appreciate you joining us for another episode of Thrust and Thunder. Please leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, ask us any questions that you might have, and we'll see you again on the next one.